Hello everybody. Welcome back to the channel where we talk about stuff. Don't forget to leave a like on the video. It's a free and easy way to support the channel that I hope you love so much, ? I'm going to tell you a secret. It's a well-known secret, but it's still a secret nonetheless, and it's something that many people don't talk about. And I assume it's because, I don't know, I can't really figure that part out. Here's the secret. This is a real thing. Bitcoin is either going to $0 per coin and will be worth absolutely nothing, or Bitcoin is going to around $10 million per coin in the future and will become the cornerstone of what we now know as the actual financial world. There's no real in between. This is a winner take everything or take absolutely nothing kind of game. I think that's usually where a lot of people within the space, this is something that they tend to actually confuse. You need to understand the idea of Bitcoin and crypto and blockchain isn't something that's fly by night that people are going to forget about or simply go, well, actually, we found something else that's better. I don't know why I did that voice, but there's no real in between. Think. Bitcoin is either going to completely revolutionize every single facet of money that we have, that we know, that we use when it comes to what an investment means. You might have forgot 16 years ago, the idea of owning a number on a screen was not really a thing. Owning a piece of a network wasn't an investment. The other side of it is Bitcoin goes completely to zero. Everyone forgets about it. No one uses it. No one touches it. No one invests in it. No one looks in its direction. This one seems a little bit more far unlikely, actually. How do I say this? I know that something's going on. I haven't been able to put my finger exactly onto it yet, but we're at the point where I'm slowly, rapidly beginning to understand this entire equation a lot more. For some reason, or rather, we actually know the reason quite well. The US dollar is crumbling. It's been 30, 50 something years of excessive mismanagement when it comes to inflation, when it comes to money, when it comes to doing what needs to be done to make sure that inflation isn't 40% year on year. The companies that we keep hearing about, and I'll give it to you this way. I think one of the more disappointing, very disappointed in many people within the space, because I think this is my vantage point. I think a lot of people within crypto claim or seem or want or act like they know about money, about finance. Once again, not being a master of numbers myself. It's just more of this idea of, if you see that something is rotting, you don't touch it, you don't eat it, you don't go towards it. We're currently seeing that the US dollar, the world reserve currency, is completely falling apart right in front of our eyes. But we're also getting news constantly about companies who are also buying up something that's not rotting, that's just beginning, and that's also incredibly finite. So sometimes I know when I tell people, not you particular, when I talk to people about crypto and I tell them what's going on, or I try to explain to them very basic things, and it's nothing over someone's head. I'm not talking about SHA-256. I'm like, we're going over like what's happening in the world, which companies are buying Bitcoin, which institutions, organizations, inflows from ETFs, how much money is moving around, these stable coin bills. This is happening with so-and-so, Bitcoin staking. I know this is how This is how I know how early that we actually are in the market, because no one actually cares. You have people in crypto who also kind of like, oh, cool. So I got into Doop coin and that's not moving. So the market's not doing great. We're witnessing a complete restructuring of what money means. And my biggest fear and what will be reality is just the amount of people who actually miss out on it. This isn't meant to be a public service announcement. It's not meant to make you whatever emotions you're currently feeling right now. But I just find it personally a little odd to get news like this every single day and to still have people pretending like the world isn't actually changing. A lot of the earlier companies that we heard getting into Bitcoin and crypto, many of them, and I don't want to say tech, but many of them had a digital background themselves or something with some sort of machinery. As of late, a lot of the companies that we've been getting have like been hotel chains, or they sell cheese, or like other, that sounds fake, but it's actually what's been going on. So this one, of course, is no different. I feel I'm sure a lot of you have this situation. It can't just be me. It won't just be me. Where you see things getting more expensive. You try to explain to people investing, saving money, having a savings account, putting things away, squirreling things away for the future, if you will. And like people around you just don't seem to really care. It's a terrible feeling realizing that so many people around me are going to be broke because they have this idea that nothing that I'm saying is correct and that they are going to be just fine with no money in their bank accounts. And then that kind of sums that part up. So there is another company in Japan. Japan, if you've been missing it, their currency is pupukaka right now. Like it's really like it's bad. And it keeps like getting devalued even more than the US dollar. The interesting part here is that this is a textile company who has been around for over 100 years. So you know how I was saying like, you know, a lot of the companies we were getting in the beginning were like techie companies or had to do with whatever. We're getting a lot of like everyone seemingly behind the scenes is coming to the conclusion that regardless of what their expertise might be, they're all moving into Bitcoin. It's called Kitaboco. Sure. Kitaboco Limited just announced that they're going to be purchasing $5.4 million worth of Bitcoin to apparently stabilize their company after years of limited cash flow and to avoid further disturbances by the Japanese yen falling lower. So to be completely honest, like that's the company, awesome, got it. I always find myself wanting to literally talk more and to dive deeper about what's happening in the world, and I don't really know how to do it. And I guess if we can talk completely candidly, at least at this point, there's so many companies who are getting into Bitcoin. This isn't, and I can feel it. Like this isn't a joke. I can feel that people like don't care. It doesn't mean anything to them until the prices have actually gone higher. I know that some of you, I know there's some of you who like actually like get it and you're awesome. Doesn't it seem weird that the world reserve currency is falling apart in front of us and no one's talking about it? Think about it. Like really think about it. We have a lot of people on the news talking about debt and deficit. No, like the US dollar has lost almost 20% of its value. 20% of its value in half a year. People are de-dollarizing. People are getting away from anything US based. If you haven't seen that news, you need to start reading more. And they're moving hundreds of millions of billions of dollars into Bitcoin. I could have understood in 2016, 17, 18, 19, maybe even 2020, because things were going a little bit crazy. in the world where it's just not a topic of discussion. How is all of this going on every single day and no one's talking about it? Did you see my other video that I had maybe a week ago? I don't know, whatever. We were talking about the U.S. is preparing to allow people to pay for their mortgage or their down payment for a home or for collateral for a home in Bitcoin. These companies have absorbed hundreds of thousands of Bitcoin, XRP, Ethereum in a really short period of time. This is while we're hearing central banks around the world talk about, yeah, we just sold some of that stuff. And then we find out, remember the SEC filings last year? We found out, what was it? I think it was a dozen. I believe it was a dozen central banks who have money in the Bitcoin ETFs. And like, it was like over 100 million per bank. That also didn't make popular news. I feel like we're sliding like really fast into this world where Bitcoin and crypto kind of becomes everything. Everything that you could have wanted and more, but that no one will be able to have. Has that entered? When I say like all this stuff is running out, I just saw an article. I don't have it here. The guy was talking about, in the article, he was like, most people don't realize like over-the-counter markets are drying up quite rapidly. They're a lot lower than they were a year ago, and then the year before that, and the year before that. He's like, soon the OTC markets are going to be, and I'm like, it could correct me if I'm wrong. I feel like really tell me. I feel like all anyone cares about is the money. I know some of you just said yup, but you're not going far enough. What portion of the money are you actually caring about? Are you caring about being able to buy a new car from this market? To buy your girlfriend something? To buy, frivolous things? Like you want to be able to say, I got big money. And excuse my language here. We usually say, I have the letters F and then the letter U kind of money. Like this is what it's a normal phrase about, having like money. I feel like this is 90% of the market. The problem is when I talk about like money, I'm talking about like future wealth, like staking Bitcoin, passive income, never having to work again. It feels like from what I've seen in the comments, from what I've seen on the Twitter, just around, it feels like a lot of people are only concerned with like 2025 money. Doesn't it seem weird? The last number that we got was a month ago, and the number was 180 plus. We got news that 180 plus companies, public companies, have announced that they're buying Bitcoin. None of that news was popular. You know what used to be popular years ago when Tesla announced that they had, I think, like 2,000 or 3,000 Bitcoin. I forgot exactly what the number is. We're hearing about companies buying 10,000, 15,000, 38,000 Bitcoin, and no one seems to care. Prices go up 12%. You feel some of the energy back in the air, but it's just about this idea of being like, yeah, I got money, and then like buying a car or something. I feel like people are missing the point. But I mean, also, we can be honest with ourselves. A lot of people have no idea what crypto is for. They don't understand the longevity of this market. Why BlackRock, Fidelity, Mitabo, Kobogodo are buying up so much crypto. These people aren't buying crypto. They're not buying Bitcoin because they plan on selling it in a year and a half. There's a reason why all these companies are also buying up all the ether. They want all of it, and they're going to have all of it. Not to slide back into that discussion, but it always feels so weird when I talk to people, when I chat to people about what's going on. It's not even blasé. It's like, oh, okay, you sound completely insane. That's cool. I'm going to go that way. No one seems to care. I mean, also I've noticed even when I talk to people about like inflation and how things are going to get worse, especially when we get that interest rate drop from 6, 7, 8% down to 1 to 2%, just how bad inflation's going to be. It feels like no one cares. It feels like everyone's kind of almost said, yeah, I almost said decentralized, but I think I was thinking of desensitized. I can't really put it into words, but yeah, another company has announced multiple millions of dollars of buying Bitcoin. There's going to be another one tomorrow because there's been one or multiple every single day. We're in the wealth transfer. We're in that pivotal point in history where there's such a ridiculous consolidation of wealth. No one seems to notice. No one seems to care. No one seems to... I don't know. It's a very weird time to be around and see so many changes. Like really a lot of changes. And seemingly no one cares. When I talk about the 8 billion people who aren't in the market, think about that. Everyone knows what the US dollar is. In some form or fashion, we all end up using a dollar. Or currencies get resolved in the dollar. Or you see something that you want to buy online from a website. Everyone knows what the dollar is. And then to hear that the US dollar is like collapsing and other fiat currencies are being kicked out the window. And like, if it feels like maybe a million people care. And that's a strong maybe. So yeah, we continue on our journey of nonstop companies buying up as much Bitcoin as they possibly can. Don't forget, the ETFs are also buying all the time. And there's also like private companies who are also buying. There's also like family offices who are also buying. We had news a couple of weeks ago about family offices in India like devouring as much Bitcoin as they possibly can. Also not making it into like real news or so. Yeah, something feels off. I feel like everyone isn't there. Like people just kind of like floating next to the market, but don't really see what's actually going on. I don't know. Good luck, everyone. Hope you've all enjoyed. Hope you all are having a great day, morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are, wherever you might be. I do hope it's absolutely fantastic. Thank you all once again for watching, listening, liking, commenting, and supporting. And I will most certainly be talking to you all soon. See you.